people have been making videos to compare her voice in 2003 to performances later in her career, and have been saying that the voice is evidence and or proof that she is not the original Avril, and that in fact the person going around performing nowadays as Avril Lavigne is someone who is a body double or a replacement Avril. I don't really buy into the conspiracy. Okay, but I actually disagree. So there's a few factors here that we really need to take a look at. One is that these are not at all a fair comparison. First of all, I'm not going to insult you as the viewer and tell you that these two voices did not sound a little different, and they definitely do. So you are hearing a difference between the 2003 video and the 2007 video. But the reasons why is not because this person has been replaced by another person. There are a lot more logical reasons and valid explanations for this. So the first thing I usually ask myself when I'm doing this stuff is, what key is the original in and what key is the comparison in? And we can see that the original is in the same key as the comparison. So we haven't changed keys at all, which would be a pretty big indicator that maybe the person's voice could have changed. And so we're looking that these are exactly in the same key. Face. That's right there around E flat and E face. And it's the same in both videos. So we know that they're singing in the same key, but the timbre, the color of their voice, is kind of different. Right? Why is Avril's voice so much darker in the 2003 recording than it is in the 2007 recording? That's what we would call a brighter sound. So bright versus dark, same notes, same vocalist, I believe. So what could explain that? A few things. Many of these comparison videos, I went around and looked at some other comparison videos on YouTube to see if I could more clearly hear what was going on. And I noticed that many of them reference the same arena concert, the same footage from 2003. So number one, we're hearing them in two completely different environments with two totally different audio captures. I don't actually know if this footage that I'm seeing is a board feed or where we're getting this audio from. And I can tell you that in the 2003 arena footage, we really hear a lot of low-end frequencies being represented. And in the 2007 footage, I can hardly hear any low-end at all, frequency-wise. Doesn't necessarily mean instruments. It has to do with EQ and frequencies and sound waves and what you can hear. So if you're new to audio production, you might not notice that. It's not necessarily a fair comparison. We have two totally different environments, audio settings, and microphones and processing channels that these people's vocals are going through. So that's number one, is this is not a good, the only way you could really compare fairly as far as the environment is concerned and have it not be a factor is if you had her singing in the exact same studio, in the exact same microphone, through the exact same signal processing chain in 2003 and afterwards. So if you could do that, you might actually find that you could compare it fairly. But in this case, the environments are so different, we're hearing completely different things. But that being said, I went around and I did hear the difference in some other comparison videos. And why we're hearing the darker voice in 2003 versus the brighter voice in 2007 and after has to do with vocal training. So one of the things that Avril is doing in her 19-year-old 2003 kind of rocker era is she's actually pressing down on her larynx a little bit to sort of artificially kind of oomph up the sound and kind of darken it and give it almost an artificially induced husky tone. And a lot of women do this. They're afraid that if their voice doesn't sound robust, it won't be as powerful. Particularly like rock singers do this a lot. And Avril is a mezzo, but she actually is kind of a brighter mezzo. She has had vocal lessons. So when I've been researching all of this for this video, I came across two different vocal coaches that have her on their roster. We've got Tina Schaefer and Valerie Morehouse. Both have listed Avril as one of their previous clients. And also Ken Tamplin lists on his website that Avril Lavigne uses some of the techniques that he teaches. Now, I don't know if that means he actually coached her or if he just has similar techniques to these other folks who've taught her. When you press on your larynx a little bit, it makes your throat tight and it makes it hard for you to sing properly. And so in another video I found, another comparison video, I felt like you could really hear this more clearly. And one of the things that I've noticed in a lot of women that I've coached is that once we stop pressing on the larynx, the voice may brighten up a little bit. I've seen this in mezzos who kind of work their husky low end a little too hard, and they don't actually relax the larynx to allow their natural resonance to come out. In some cases, it means their voice may sound a little brighter. But what we hear is that her singing is vastly improved in the brighter tone. Her larynx is a lot more relaxed, and some of the key resonance is much better. She's much more able to belt up to her higher notes, and she doesn't have to flip as much. So let's take a look at the comparison that I found where we hear the back and forth between 2003 to later, and we can really hear the pressing on the larynx and how it's impeding her high notes in the old videos, and then how with the brighter tone when she relaxes later in life after some vocal coaching, that it really improves a lot and she's much more able to belt the high notes. So let's take a look here. What she yelling for? Lay back, it's all been done before. And if you could only let it be, you will see. See the way you're acting like somebody else gets me frustrated. Life's like this, you fall and you crawl and you break and you take what you get and you turn it into honesty. Promise me I'm never gonna find you fakeness. Chill out, what you yelling for? Lay back, it's all been done before. And if you could only let it be, you will see somebody else down there. Tell me what you're doing that keeps you going. See the way like somebody else gets me frustrated. And life's like this year, you fall and you crawl and you break. Take what you get, turn it into honesty. Promise me you're never gonna find your fakeness. Okay, so once again, we're hearing the song in the same key before and after, and we have totally different quality audio resources here. I don't know where these people are getting the videos from, and I don't know where the original audio is coming from. Where are we hearing it? So I really feel like it's super unfair. We're hearing, once again, in the older recording, a better quality audio source and some more low-end frequencies in general overall.